a former Michigan home nurse has admitted to stealing life-saving medicine from 3 patients, which led to the death of a 4-year-old boy. Christiane Melohin, 40, of Kalamazoo confessed to diluting liquid diazepam, Valium, prescribed to her patients to control their seizures, and taking it for her own use, in U.S. District Court in Grand Rapids. One of her patients, Riley Mauid, died of a seizure on August 26, 2016 at his home in Allegan, Michigan, 3 days after Melohin was fired for failing a drug test after it was first suspected she was stealing his medicine. The defendant knew that she put the patients' lives at risk by diluting their diazepam, given that the diazepam was used, among other purposes, to suppress seizures, the plea agreement signed by Melohin read. Riley's death was determined to be a homicide, although charges have not yet been filed in that case, as prosecutors continue the investigation. She pleaded guilty to 2 charges of tampering with a consumer product in U.S. District Court in Grand Rapids. Melohin acknowledged removing Valium intended for Riley and his older brother, Kenny, as well as the same medication that was intended for a disabled 30-year-old patient in Berry County, and diluting it with water, according to MLive Michigan. Riley had cerebral palsy, as does his brother. She was working as a home nurse for a Wyoming-based company when she was assigned to provide overnight care for the Mauid brothers in 2016, NBC's Target 8 reported. Melohin had been working in the boys' home several nights a week for about 6 weeks, according to their mother, Toni Ward. At some point in August, another nurse noticed the brothers' liquid diazepam appeared clear, rather than its usual pale yellow color. The nurse then reported to Lakeshore Home Healthcare Services, the agency that employed them, that she thought someone had been diluting the children's medication. Around that same time, the father of another patient called to report that he thought the same medication had been tampered with. All of the nurses employed by Lakeshore were then required to provide urine samples for drug testing. Melohin was the only nurse who returned a positive drug test for the diazepam. On August 23, during an interview with Lakeshore, Melohin admitted to taking the drug and replacing the stolen liquid diazepam, Valium, with water. She was then immediately fired, and the agency referred the case to the state. 3 days later, Riley died from a seizure. Share this article. Prior to August, Riley's condition had stabilized. At the time of his death, the medical examiner determined the medication the boy had been taking had between 1 and 10% of its prescribed concentration. Melohin's LPN license was suspended by the Board of Nursing Disciplinary Subcommittee in January, following the state's investigation. She was initially charged with a 3rd count of tampering, which will be dismissed. She faces up to 10 years in prison, MLive reported, and will be sentenced at a later date. Allegan and Berry County prosecutors continue to investigate the cases.